All right, we're recording. Think we're good to go. All right. I didn't hear a bing yet, but I'm going to go anyway. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Sincerely thanking anyone that will tune in. I'm beginning to realize, unfortunately, that what I'm talking about is not meant for most people to tune into because we are absolutely comfortable where we are. We have no intentions of leaving where we are. We have no intentions of getting stronger or wiser or anything. It's just once we find a place where we're comfortable, rather we're in the ghetto, sleeping on a cot, rather we're in the hood selling drugs, rather we're lesbian or gay, rather we're a politician, or rather we are poor or rich or quiet or whatever. Most of us have no intentions of elevating. This is one thing that Christ was very upset with his followers about, that they had no intentions of elevating. So today we're going to talk about the 7 levels of awareness. And I want to make something very clear about this book called Bible very quickly. And I hope that it sticks in your mind. I want to say it early because I know you're not going to listen long. This book has 7 different levels of comprehension to it, the Bible. If you open this book and you read it literally, you're on the animalistic level of this book. You're taking everything literal. You're not looking into the content, what it means or what it could mean. So you find that people start in religion with reading this book and taking it literal. And you find that 20 years later, they're still taking the book literal. So they have not advanced at all in the comprehension of the book. They have not advanced at all in the comprehension of God, God's purpose, or the people's purpose. They may have more money. They may have a higher position, but their mind has not shifted, or what they consider a paradigm shift. It did not shift. So from the time that they read this book on the animalistic level, their mind stayed on that level. We're going to talk today about the 7 levels of awareness, why some of your friends and family members don't see things the way you do, why they will never see it the way you do, why when you begin to comprehend a deeper understanding of God, people think that you're crazy, and why 9 times out of 10 you will end up alone in this world, and you can choose to go back to the world and deal with the foolishness of the world, or you can do as Christ did and fight for the truth until you die. And God promises that you will be resurrected into a better life. So the average person, the majority of people that we admire and look up to, have chosen a level of life and stayed there. And most of us never go beyond the 3rd level of awareness, or the 3rd level of life, or the 3rd level of comprehension. That's why you see 70 and 80-year-old men still talking like 10 and 15-year-old boys. That's why the growth is never in the comprehension of religious beliefs or Jesus Christ or any of that. I want to read a few things to you, and I'm going to put all of this stuff together as quickly as possible. I had a flyer on my other computer I was going to do. I got so scared. The subjects that I'm being told to talk about are frightening to me, because I know I'm already on the blacklist, and I'm going to be beyond whatever color comes after black. That's where I'm going to be. But I choose that. I choose consciously to go forward because I know what's happening on each level. I've made it so far by God's permission to the 4th level of comprehension. I don't want to go back down, but I don't know what's going up. So I'm going to talk to us today about the comprehension of this book called Bible, and why, after reading the book from Genesis to Revelation, we still call Jesus God, and why we are stuck on the idea of calling on Jesus and not God. I want to read a few things, then we're going to go into the opening, then we're going to go from there. I chose for this the 7 levels of awareness for several reasons, but mainly because in John 3 and 2 and 20 of the King James Version of the Bible, it talks about the 7 churches, talks about the dragon with the 7 heads. 7 is a very significant number. The 5% nation wears the 7. They stand on that. The Christians understand the 7 if you're moving forward in comprehension. I knew that the moment I started talking, my mind would be so clear, I would start hearing every sound outside. Again, that's another level of ignorance that we're on with playing loud music and disturbing the neighborhood. So I'm praying that God will get me through this. And I thank all of you for listening. I'm going to play the intro, and then God willing, we're going to be right back. I hope everyone is enjoying your day off. This is indeed Labor Day. Let's go. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions. Super happy for y'all to be here. For those of you who's expecting something different, you know what I do on my show. If it's microphone check, I'll let you know it's microphone check. And tomorrow we got a special guest on microphone check. So you want to tune into that for the 50th year of hip hop. But for us in South Carolina, it's like the 35th year of hip hop. So we're going to have a special guest on microphone check. But today, I want to talk to you about the 7 levels of awareness and comprehension. I've been posting up a lot of things lately on Facebook. And the comments that I get underneath my posts are frightening to me, because it makes me to really understand that we don't read, that we just respond. And not reading for proper comprehension and just responding means that we're still on the animalistic level. We just respond to things. So I'm going to talk to us today about the 7 levels. Hey, Ms. Wiz, how are you, ma'am? I'm going to talk to us today about the 7 levels. And I hope we comprehend this well, because most of the time you all think that I'm talking against Jesus Christ. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I am a Christian, but I understand this book on another level, because this book has seven different levels to it. You can read the book of Genesis and you can comprehend it on the animalistic level, and it just means exactly what you read. But when you begin to elevate in God's understanding, your mind goes higher in this book. This book is not just a simple written book. It's bigger than that. But when you've met someone who's been in the church for 25 years and they're still saying Jesus is God, when Jesus never said he was God, he said, I of myself can do nothing but that in which the Father that wills that I do. He says that it is expedient that I go to the Father. So I want to read a few things to you. Then we're going to go into some things, and then I'm going to try my best to get up out of here, because I was pressed to do this and I'm terrified. I'll be honest with you, because if you're not growing in comprehension or the desire to comprehend, then you're going to stay where you are and you're going to talk from that level of misunderstanding, and you're going to get a lot of good people killed. See, the people of biblical times got Jesus killed because of their level of misunderstanding and their desire to follow the flock, to follow the crowd, to follow the, what do they call them? Clique. So I want to read this real quick out of John 14:8 and through 10, I think. But listen to what Jesus, how Jesus responds to Philip. John 8, Philip says unto him, Lord, showeth us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, showeth us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? Christ never said he was God, but we got stuck on the idea of Christ, even though it was Constantine who was about to go to war, and Constantine claimed to have seen a cross in the sky, and over that cross it said, "In hoc signo vinces," with this sign we conquer, a sign of the cross. So Constantine started calling people who followed Christ Christians. Christ never said it. I know it's a horrible thing. I know it's difficult. Like I said, I tried my best to get as much as I could in the few first seconds, because you're not going to hang on. You can't. You can't focus long enough to even figure out what you want to do with your own life. You follow whatever is said to do that appears to make the most money. We got to get out of that. And the only way we can get out of that is to elevate. So I want to go into the first level of awareness. This won't take long, I promise. There are 7 levels. The first level is the animal level, fight or flight, react versus response. The second level is mass, or follow the crowd, to conform to society. That is the second level. Listen to me. Many of us never leave the fight or flight level of awareness. That's why you're 20, 30, 40 years old talking about gangbanging. And that's why you're excited when you see other children follow your ignorant footsteps, because that's where you chose to stay. Why did you choose to stay on level 1? Because you're an animal and you're successful at being an animal. But here's the thing about staying on a level. When you choose to stay on a level, you reach a plateau. There is a point of success, and then you begin to devolve. So you find gangsters now who were once hardcore are now having homosexual sex, or find pleasure out of murder, or find pleasure out of other people being as bad as they are, or they drink excessively, or do drugs excessively. They're on a downward spiral to death because they were afraid to go any further than the level they were comfortable on, which is the animalistic level. And the animalistic level is the child mind level. Because a baby born, he stinks on himself, pees on himself. Somebody got to feed him. All he knows is to cry, wah, wah, and do whatever he wants to do when he or she wants to do it. That is the animalistic level. And that's where most of us stay. So when we begin to read this book on an animalistic level, we never advance beyond it. So when we get to the part of, even though the book says that Abraham is the father of religion, and Abraham was born before Christ, we never question what was Abraham's religion. Abraham's religion was total submission to the will of God. Period. But instead of giving all of the prophets and messengers who came before Christ their just due, we ignore them and we freeze at Christ. So the 7 levels of comprehension, number 1, are the 7 levels of awareness. Number 1 is animalistic, and many of us stay there. If you stay there, there's a level of success you reach, then you begin to devolve. Now you got on the latest fashion, you chilling, you look good with your clothing and your car and your home, and you think you still look good like you did when you started, but people are saying, Lord, he looked bad. So you die right there. And for those of us who want to elevate beyond the animalistic level or shift our paradigm, the person on the animalistic level who doesn't want to leave wants to destroy you. Now check this out. There are 7 levels. And if you desire to go up each level of the 7 churches, the people who do not want to leave the levels underneath that will hate you enough to want you dead. So when you step out, you can feel the energy of hatred. 7 levels of awareness and true paradigm shifting. Most of us will die on level 1. We're animals. We smoke, we drink. Anytime we have to face reality, we go to a drug. But a man at some point says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that control me. Even if you go back to it because you have an addiction, it does not control you. You do not stay there. But we smoke weed, we drink liquor, we fall asleep, we wake up, and we do the same thing again and think that we have advanced. And then it's not till you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you look back and realize you ain't advanced at all. You didn't come out of that paradigm. 7 levels of awareness, 7 levels of comprehension of this book called Bible, or any book that you read. There are multiple levels. The book says that God may have shut a door, but he opens a window. There's always a level. But people who are stuck always tell you, nope, if you ain't believing in the Lord Jesus Christ the way we believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you going to hell. That's what they think. Because they got stuck. They stopped understanding. Let's move on. Level 2, mass, which most of us are so afraid of being alone that we follow the crowd. I remember when I was diddy bopping in the streets, I was hanging with Calvin Williams and Charles Council, the whole squad, man. And they used to get together and drink liquor, drink beer, 8 balls, blah, blah, blah. And if you wanted to hang with them, that's what you had to do. So I was behind this. They had this place called Wizard World over there by the hospital. It is a tobacco shop now or something, a vape shop. And we were back there drinking. And every time they passed it to me, I didn't drink it. I poured some out. And they caught me. Got angry with me for pouring out the liquor. And I was thinking in my mind, I love these guys. But I don't want to have to do that in order to hang with them. But the reality was, if you're not, number 2, following the crowd or conforming to the crowd, if you're not doing that, then you will not be accepted by the crowd. So now you are alone. Now you're by yourself. And loneliness is a difficult thing to deal with. So I've been lonely for many, many years. There's not a lot of people that try to travel. They're smart, they're intellectual, they have money, good homes, good business sense, but they're either still on the animalistic level, or they're on the mass level, or they have advanced, and I'm not there yet, but they're not trying to help me get there. So when you're reading this book, and you're constantly screaming, Jesus, Jesus, and you have not gone into who Jesus is, check this out, what Jesus said. I want to read this to you real quick. Let's go to John 16:7. Listen to what Jesus said he had to do in order for people to begin to understand how this thing called religion works. Jesus says, nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. Christ is saying, you're not even calling on the Comforter. You're relying on me. And the more I stay among you, the more chances you risk at dying, because you're not even calling on the right source of who is feeding me. Christ says it is expedient that I leave, and when I leave, I'll send him to you. I have to, because you're not even comprehending the fact that I am not God. Something bigger is backing me. And I'm telling you that it's bigger than me, and you're not listening. And the same thing happened to Moses. They weren't listening. So he said, must I smite this rock? And he left God out. And because of that, he was denied the promised land. Level 2. I hope I didn't X off of that. Level 2 is mass. Level 1 is animalistic. And most of us stay on the animal level. So whenever we become upset or scared or confused, we go to either we're eating or drinking liquor or smoking weed or smoking crack, or we're screwing. We have an addiction because we must remain on that animal level in order to function. Level 2 is mass. You follow the crowd. I've never been a crowd follower. And God made me that way. And I understood it. And I said, yes, that's what I want. I don't want to follow the crowd. I don't want to have to pretend to be something in order for you to want to be around me. I'll be so unhappy and miserable. It would just be like I'm alone anyway. So I might as well be alone. Tebow, Thomas Thames has a post up on Instagram where he's talking about hearing the voice of God and how you can't hear it in a crowded room. But the closer the person gets to you in a room that's noisy, the better you can hear. If you're in a noisy room, you can't hear God. If you're amongst noise all the time or the disruptive nature of chemicals being introduced to the body, you never hear God. So your God becomes whatever gave you pleasure: sex, drugs, rock and roll. And you stay there. And anyone who tries to come out of that or bring you out of that, you kill them. Make sure I'm saying everything. 20 minutes in, we're doing good. Let's go to the third level: aspiration, desires without action. Y'all, you understand? You aspire to be something great. It's like dreaming. You desire to have great things, but you don't put forth any effort, even if someone opens a lane for you to take. So we read this book and we say we desire to know God, but we take no action. We don't go beyond this book to study God's word. Even though this book is so complicated that probably 85% of the words we don't even understand. Because the simplest words on Facebook, most people respond wrong to. I'm telling you how friends of yours, you don't understand how you're either going under them, bypassing them, or why they never change. They're stuck on a paradigm. It keeps pulling them back in. Have you ever known someone who wins a lottery or moves out of a bad neighborhood, who brings that bad neighborhood into the new community, or makes money and goes back to the hood? Because they can't leave that level. They don't either are afraid or they have no desire to leave it. You must have a connection to God, a proper understanding, and you must have people in your corner who encourage you. But when I talk and the way I talk, most of you who may like me, you get so scared. And I understand that because you haven't advanced. You don't go and say, let me see if what Jamil's saying is the truth. You just get scared and we fear what we don't understand. But I promise you, I'm looking for the real, true, and living God, not one made up, not one constantly repeated over and over, but I see no signs of it. I'm looking for the real thing. And so I call on God and I study. And when I call on him and I study, I don't wait for tomorrow when clarity comes. I make sure I have it. And I thank God for the internet. And then I share it because tomorrow I may be dead. And one thing is for sure, the people who have been successful in this life very rarely share with you unless you join some secret organization. When you're in a paradigm, if you're on level 1, when you try to escape that, it's going to try to pull you back. So when you make up your mind that you're going to change, all of those things in that world that you like are going to try to pull you back. And plus, it's a comfort zone. So some people will tell you, man, I ain't never leaving the hood. I ain't never leaving the streets. I ain't never going to stop smoking weed. I ain't never going to stop lying. Some of them get so comfortable in politics. You see some preachers who build bigger churches talking the same lingo. And when they get stuck in religion, you know what they do? They change God's knowledge to material and start talking about what is it called? Prosperity. When they can no longer comprehend God because they have severed ties with him, they start saying that God is prosperity only. So whoever got something, thank God, thank Jesus, thank God. But have a conversation with them. And you'll find that they haven't changed from the time they started to the time they are right now. Most people are not tough enough to change. A thug is a thug in the thug zone. But put a thug amongst, I remember one time y'all were afraid to go to the Matrix Center. I was a frequent photographer and videographer at the Matrix Center, and the thugs wouldn't come to the Matrix Center because it was uncomfortable. You wanted to go to Ebony's and Space Place, where you could act a donkey. But then the Matrix Center needed revenue, so it lowered its standards and started letting bikers in and y'all came in there and act a donkey. Now they're trying to build their repertoire back up and they won't let you in. When you're uncomfortable somewhere, you can't stay. Most of your friends won't be comfortable where you're trying to go. So they got to go. You understand what I'm saying to you? They can't stay because they're going, oh, you different now. Oh, you better than this now. You better than liquor now. You better than weed. Yeah, I'm trying to be better. But you make enemies who want you dead. Politicians, preachers, all of them have stayed on the level and they don't plan on leaving because they're successful there. That was Satan's plan from the beginning. To get you on a level that would keep you on that lower level and you would die on that lower level. So level 3 aspiration, desire without actions. Everybody want to be great. Everybody want to be a boss. My son called me the other day. He ripping and running all over the place. I said, son, that's the rules. The rules are if you want to be a boss, you got to act like one. And where you are, most people fold that. So they end up going right back to the streets and talking about how boss they are, but they'll never be boss. And even when you get bossship in the streets, your reckless behavior will get you killed or imprisoned for the rest of your life because you did not elevate. We're talking about 7 levels of elevation and 7 levels of comprehension, especially in this book called Bible. You live your whole life looking for some image when the book tells you don't make no image. The book says don't make no graven image of God no kind of way, but somebody painted a picture and you worship that picture. Somebody made a cross and you worship that cross. And if anyone says you're wrong about it, you'll kill them. That's what they're fighting for in the East, in religion right now. We're not elevating. Because as simple as it sounds, elevating is not simple. Because you begin to see everything for what it really is. And no matter how pretty that car is, that slingshot is, that trike is, that Corvette is, that truck is, that motorcycle is, you see beyond that and you see the wickedness behind it. Most people can't tell you how they got successful because they were evil in their elevation to success. And the thing about elevating in the 7 levels of awareness and comprehension is when we fail, we must come back down. And that's why in this book, it talks about Jacob's ladder, angels ascending and descending. Many preachers get a little light and go crazy, start talking about they can heal you and do this and do that, going beyond God's intentions for their life. Right back down. So they're acting like they're on level 7, but in reality, they're on level 1. When I was hustling in the street, mostly preachers bought marijuana from me and people in business. So level 3 is aspiration. Level 4 is individual. Most people never reach level 4. I am striving for individualism. I want to be myself. I want you to accept me for loving God. I want you to accept me for understanding that I must understand. I want you to accept me for realizing that when I do something, I go hard at it. I want you to understand that I don't sit around when something needs to be done. I'm not trying to take attention from you, but God gave me life and I want to live it. I don't want to stay on level 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6. I want to make it to level 7. And each one of those levels literally takes 10 years. So you're not, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, it's not until you're like 70 years old before you even realize your purpose in life. Imagine if you don't leave the animal level until you're 50. You won't make it. But your purpose is to make sure you get out of that level, to explain to the next generation, you must get out. So Satan wants us in the animal level. That's why he's making evil people successful. The more you find out about this wicked world, the more you accept it because money comes with it. That's all right. That's okay. Let people be people. Let things be things. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Individualism means expressing your uniqueness. But when you begin to express your uniqueness and you're different, people will ostracize you. There is a unique comprehension in this book called Bible, and in the book called Quran, and in the Hebrew writings. There is a unique comprehension. But if you understand it different than the next person, they will say, oh no, he ain't no real Christians. What is a real Christian? Your evil self. You sleep with other men. You a woman and you sleep with women. You a man and you sleep with men. You go out, you drink, you gossip, you lie, you steal, you hustle, all in the name of God. And you got the nerves to call somebody else evil? For real. You advanced at a level that most people aren't because you get in a circle and you keep it quiet. And that's what these organizations do. These secret organizations, they're just as evil as hell. Don't think there's no perfection in there. It's the same people in there that's out here. But they hide it. And they don't want you a part of it. Yeah, they have orgies. Yeah, they screw each other. Yeah, this ain't just a Illuminati group. This just about everybody do it. Lionel Richie said, I'm unhappy when I gotta fake it. So am I. Let me be who I am, or I'm gonna have to force it. I'm gonna have to do it. So I found individualism 30 years ago. Wow, God made me special as he did you. But out of fear, we stay with the masses. Number 2, following the crowd out of fear. Number 5, we're almost done with 33 minutes in, is discipline. You must be disciplined in order not to go back down the ladder. Because once you become an individual, you're going to realize that the closest person to you don't understand you at all. The people that you want, you like these people, you want them to be with you, they don't understand you at all. And you realize in order to have a good time, you must come down to where they are because they can't come up where you are. They have no desire to. Don't you let these degrees and these titles intimidate you. It took a lot of effort for doctor to become a doctor, lawyer to become a lawyer. You congratulate them, but they're human too. Dr. Drunks, Dr. Drug Addicts, Dr. Nymphomaniacs, Dr. Rapists, intelligent fools, intelligent murderers, ignorant murderers, we're all there. But when you begin to discipline yourself, meaning you give yourself a command and you keep it. I am afraid at this point. I'm lonely at this point. I'm literally desperate. But I give myself, by God's permission, the command, I'm going to die right here. I do not want to go back down. I don't. I'm going to fight the giant for the rest of my life if it pleases God. I got to. I know there's nothing down, not the houses, not the car. I love that stuff, man. I love it. You should want nice things, but those things are not going to make you happy. A woman with a butt, even if it's real, is going to fall. If she got a vagina, even if it's good, it's going to stink. The booty going to stink. The breath going to stink. Everything is going to eventually become unattractive. And I'm not trying to be vulgar, but I'm trying to get you to comprehend the fact that everything we admire eventually dissolves. So you must have discipline. And most of us don't. That's why we don't want to listen to nothing that says it's our fault. When you listen to, you get millions of views if you start talking about Trump, that Trump. If you start blaming it on the gays, if you blame it on the Mexicans, if you blame it on the niggas, you get all the views. But the minute you say, look at yourself and take a self-examination and self-evaluate, oh no, I'm righteous, I'm saved and sanctified. Who told you that? Where did you get your confirmation from? Christ says that we are all God's children of the Most High. When a person in a high position hears that, oh no, don't believe that, because they want to be the God. Even on the level I'm on, when I'm doing something, there's always somebody trying to compete, or someone thinks they're better, or someone trying to prove they don't need you. Well, see, I want to work with people. I understand that God loves group activity and group economics. I understand that because of where I'm trying to go in comprehension. And many do understand that, but most of you don't. You trying to grab the spotlight for yourself. One man cannot do it all. We're talking about self-awareness, the seven levels of awareness, the 7 levels of comprehension of this book called Bible. You still thinking that a giant in the Bible is talking about a tall person, so tall, so big, and he'll just step on half the world. But a giant also means someone who has more understanding than you, more money than you, more power than you. They're a giant. Able to manipulate the system better than you. They're a giant. And the more you go through life, even the thuggiest thug put his hand behind his back when the right police come to get him. All of your hardcore thug killers put their hands behind their back when the police come to get them. Know why? Because they understand which paradigm they are in. Mark this off. And when you become controlled by your paradigm, it constantly pulls you back into it. So a person says, I'm going to stop doing this. Next week, you see they right back at it. It's a hell of a fight, man. And you're dealing with a society that don't even understand the importance of self responsibility, taking responsibility for your actions, or understanding the importance of community. And I realized that working with a lot of people that I gave a lot to, who would go behind your back and destroy something to make themselves look good. You don't hate them forever. You forgive because you understand they're on a level that's with it, but you don't have to deal with them. I'm not going to hold the hatred, but I'm not going to deal with you. Level 5, discipline, almost done. Level 6 is experience. That is when you begin to really learn. That's where my son is, and it's scaring him to death because he's in another place and he's got to learn. I say, son, you got to learn it. You got to learn it because once you got it, you got it. It's the difference between selling drugs on the animal level and being arrested and doing 10 years and selling drugs on this world's level and being rewarded for selling them. This world has an illegal and a legal. Same weed you go to jail for, if they don't give you permission to sell it, is the same weed you can make $1 million off of if they give you permission to sell it. We must begin to experience life. We call it the school of hard knocks, but here's the thing. On the animal level, you go through that same hard knocks over and over until it kills you. You laugh about being shot at. You laugh about getting shot. You laugh about people being shot. You think that spinning the block and taking revenge is the same as bringing that person back. You go through this cycle over and over again. And even politicians become so caught up in their position that they think they're a god. And it's little people like us that's got to show them you are not a god. You lost your way. So what? They don't want to talk to you no more. So who are they? What can they do that God can't prevent? Yes, it's scary waiting on something you can't see, God. But it's more frightening to trust in a world that's going to use you till you die. I look up to no man. I respect your skills, your position, your growth, but I admire no man above the universe, the universal God. None. I was sitting in a Rolls Royce with someone one day in the back seat, and he said, none of you ever rode in a Rolls Royce? I like, nah, but it's a car though. He said, none of this stuff fazes you, huh? I said, I respect it, but I mean, what you want me to do? You want me to roll the window down and scream, I'm in a Rolls Royce? It ain't mine. So when I get out and start walking again, then what? You must experience for yourself life. That's why a child is raised and taught 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you got to go out and experience it for yourself. That's the prodigal son. I'm going to be waiting for you, but you think you got life down pat simply because you have aspiration, simply because you desire and dream about it. But it's going to get you. We're almost done. And the final one is mastery. And I was talking to one of my sons one day, and he said, man, I can't wait to be at the point where I just, I can hold my cool and you can get there. Mastery is responding versus reacting. On the animal level, you react. On the mastery level, you respond. I kill you. Well, but I really don't want to die. And if you really planning on killing me, I got to defend myself. You understand that, right? You understand that I love my family. And that's how I talk to people. Man, you understand that I love my family and I want you to respect them. And they yeah, I feel you. And then go right back down to that animal level. But a master can kill an animal. See, that's what slavery was supposed to teach us, the difference between the master and the animal, the slave. See, master and slave. In the Masonic order, these 7 rules apply. It's a pyramid. Must begin to comprehend this book on a higher level. It tears me apart when I hear people constantly talking about Jesus. After all of these years, you should understand Jesus' purpose and advance people's understanding into the one who sent Jesus, and then talk about Jesus in the position in which he was intended to be talked about. But instead, you put Jesus as the master, and he is not the master. He said it. We must learn to give ourselves a command a little at a time and adhere to it. I'm not going out tonight, period. All you boys, yo, you coming? No, I'm not. Not tonight, brother. I'm chilling. Oh, you a sucker. Come on, man. Why I gotta be all that, man? I just want to rest, bruh. Give yourself a command and hold it. Don't turn back, because death is back there. That was the purpose of Sodom and Gomorrah and his wife turning into a pillar of salt. Don't turn back. Death is back there. That's why we're going to see so many of our people die, because they're turning back. And then you got to see those who try to continue on get killed because you don't understand what they're trying to do. And the frightening part about this and my understanding of people in religion is they truly cannot see God. So they stay with the engraved image of a Jesus and they bank on that. And out of God's mercy, he continues to allow us to bank on that, but it will not last forever. There are 7 churches in Asia. The dragon had 7 heads. I think Jesus cast out 7 demons, all pertaining to the 7 levels of comprehension. There's a demon at every level that wants to keep pulling us back in to the same level. Some of us die on it. I don't care how much we grow in material goods. It looks like we advance, but we're tormented on the inside. Same with the 7 levels of consciousness. It's the same. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in, those who will tune in, the 1 or 2 people who will hold on long enough. And I want to read this off real quick before I go. Again, there's the animal consciousness or survival consciousness. There's the relationship consciousness, when a person has a subconscious fear-based belief at the love and belonging level of consciousness. No matter how much love and affection they get, they will always want more. We just want more. So we can't get along with the man. He giving us all he can. We want more. We go to a woman. And I'm not pointing my fingers, but I'm not afraid to point my fingers at the lesbian and gay community. Y'all not right about everything. I'm not going to put y'all in no God position. Are you kidding me? No, sir, ma'am, sir, girl, boy, girl. No, no. I understand your power. You got a power position, but I'm going to trust God on that. I don't bother that at all. I have, so cliche, a few people that are gay or lesbian that I like, that I talk to, I've partied with, I've gone to gay parties, I've filmed gay parties, I've DJed gay parties, but I've done all of that. But that doesn't make me accept that. I just know the people and I like the person. That's that. So you'll never find enough love. Self-esteem. When a person has a subconscious fear based upon belief at the self-esteem level of consciousness, no matter how much you praise or give them accolades, they will always want more. Tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm great. Tell me I'm pretty. Sound familiar? Women just putting on all of this stuff. You done told them they look good. They got to put on some more. Transformation, the 4th state of consciousness. Same thing I was saying before, the 7 levels, 7 states. The 4th state of consciousness corresponds to Carl Jung's concept of individuation. This level is called conscious transformation. Your transformation occurs when we find the freedom and autonomy to be who we are, when we begin to inquire into our true nature. That's the reason I respect, I hate to say it like this, but the old school homosexuals, because they are who they are. Now, most of us just playing a game because we want a feeling. We want attention. But the old school ones, they didn't come out flamboyant. They had their own clubs. They had their own era. They had their own places. Don't bother them. They won't bother you. You understand what I'm saying? Transformation. And once you leave that, you begin to come into the state of self-realization or self-actualization. We're just recapping and I'm closing. The 5th state of consciousness is Vedic or philosophy correspondence to the 1st level of self-actualization, which is referred to a level of consciousness or internal cohesion where you start to learn yourself. You become soul infused. You begin to admit, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like hanging out here. I want to do something different. 2nd level of actualization is the 6th state of consciousness of philosophy. And that one, as I stated, with the levels of awareness. At this level, you begin to feel a sense of empathy towards the disadvantages. You want to use your unique gifts and talents to take support and help others. You want to improve the world. You learn that you can make a bigger difference if you connect and collaborate with others who share the same values and the same sense of purpose. As I was saying, there are things that I want to do that require group activity. I want a nice community. I don't want no thugged out community, no drug community, no loud community. I want to be able to say good afternoon to my neighbor and mean it. Not all that, oh, praise your Lord, praise Jesus, God. And then as soon as you walk, you know that joker, you know he ain't got no job in it. I don't want that, because you cannot be in heaven and be lying at the same time. Do you understand me? And our first heaven is going to be on earth. So we must climb the 7 levels of awareness. There's 7 chakras in the body. We must understand that. 7 levels of awakening. And finally, the 7th state of consciousness is that of service, or arrival at the level of consciousness when you pursue your pursuit of making a difference become a way of life. And this is a way of life for me. But I realize in South Carolina, in Manning in particular, you don't want a person to be genuine. Most of you don't. We're at the state of the hustle, the lie, the deceit, the get over. That's where we are in Manning. And everyone's trying to be the best at the same thing when we all could do it together. Everybody's doing the same thing. Same thing. And during Juneteenth, I tried to bring together 2 engineers. Same thing. It didn't happen. They can't get along. I don't mind being around another videographer as long as you got respect, another photographer, another graffiti artist, another podcaster. But somebody always want to be the best. And those are the dangerous people, because they're willing to do animalistic things to be the best. I hope this made some sense to you. There's an animalistic way to comprehend this book called Bible. And those preachers end up sleeping with all the women in the church, the children in the church, manipulating money. There's an animalistic way in politics, and they end up trying to get their family in positions of power. And then you go to another politician, or a different Republican or Democrat or conservative, and you find that they after the same thing. On the streets, you go from one gang to the next the same. There are levels to every level of life. Do you understand? One level in animalism is 7 levels in animalism. So there are levels on top of levels. This thing is infinite. It continues. There's 7 on top of 7. Remember when who was asking? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or was it Christ, asked about forgiveness, and he was telling them to forgive 7 times 70. Or learn to forgive infinitely. Learn that everything has a level to it. You either a low-level drug dealer or you a kingpin on the animal level. 7 times there's levels to this thing. And to get out of it takes the rest of your life. And when you get weak, you fall, you got to climb right back out again. Stay aware of where you are and who is around you. We like to make it real simple, talking about keeping your head on the swivel. So what, you got your head on a swivel? You're going to make your neck hurt. Just be aware of who's around you and be ready. At this point, I'm over ready. So I'm in that fight or flight mode, and I don't like it, because I don't like wishy-washy people that you can't trust. So I'm different. I'm not going to laugh at a joke if it's not funny. I'm not going to act like you great when you're an idiot. I'm not going to be afraid of you, even though I am, when I got to stand up for my family. I'm going to call on God. And if both of us got to die, then that's the way it got to be. Or if I got to die and you got to pay the consequences, that's the way it's got to be. Don't mean I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. I am. But, boy, I'm so tired of bullies. I'm so tired of giants that I accept the level. I accept the travel from God, the offer, when I got it. And I advise you to do the same. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. The 7 levels of awareness, the 7 levels of consciousness, the 7 churches, the 7 demons, the seven uh dragons. Oh man, it goes on and on. That seven is very powerful. So I thank you all for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir telling it like it is. Telling it like it is. Telling it like it is. And not like it was. Telling it like it is.